has gone through their notes in their tablets or their phones before a quiz. So this year, we focus on the use of tablets in replacement of textbooks. Lighter bags, lower costs. These are some of the reasons why several institutions have considered the use of tablets. And such schools under the LaSalle system are De La Salle Zobel and LaSalle Green Hills. But more often than not, we find ourselves caught in the middle of this issue. Is it really beneficial? Should I adjust to this technology? So, to start off, let's go and hear the thoughts of Mr. Steve Jobs, founder of Apple, and back from the dead. Hi sir, how are you?
Hi, good morning, Leah, and good morning, Philippines. Thank you for coming today and listening to my speech. It's truly an honor to be able to be back from the dead. You know, I grew back some hair. I'm so happy. And, you know, it's really a privilege to speak in front of you guys. Mabuhay, Philippines. Buhay. Mahal ko kayo.
Okay, so since Tim Cook is now the CEO of Apple, what's the current state of Apple in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, you know, Apple entered into a transition stage, you know. You know, I've been at the helm of Apple for the last 20, 30 years, and to pass the baton to my friend Tim Cook, it's something I wasn't sure of, but since I died, there was no choice. But looking at the stock prices of Apple, I must say that Apple is really doing well. Although we're facing, you know, tough competition from Samsung and all those other mobile companies, you know, it's safe to say that Apple is still one of the best companies out there. And because of this, we're really developing new products, and we're excited to announce our new product lines that we're gonna share to you, especially to you guys, students.
So do you have anything new to share? Any products?
Well, since mahal ko kayo, I will give you a sneak peek to what Apple is going to launch 2 to 3 weeks from now. So I might be not the real Steve Jobs, but this is legit information. So if you look at the screen, that is the iPhone 5S. So we're releasing that 3 weeks from now in our convention in California. And it's basically an improvement from our current iPhone 5 running the iOS 7 and with a 12 megapixel camera and all those brand new features we have. But more importantly, I think the one on the right side, the blue one, that's the iPhone 5C. So as you see, given tough competition from Samsung, we decided to launch our own low-cost iPhone. So basically, it's half the price of iPhone 5S, but it runs basically the same features. So one of the primary targets we acknowledged is students like you. So with half the cost, you're going to be able to enjoy the same iPhone that is as better as ever.
Okay, so putting the iPhone aside, let's focus on education. What are the improvements we can expect from the iPad?
You know, back in 2010 when we first introduced the iPad, basically we created a new niche in the market. And that is, you know, the tablet market. Back then, there was really no tablet market. And 3 years down the road, I'm proud to say that the iPad has now overtaken the PC market. You know, everyone nowadays, they want everything to be as portable, flexible, lightweight, and basically everything's on the go. And obviously, although we're not releasing a new iPad this year, rest assured, we're gonna release new iPads that will incorporate our new features and, you know, enhance the educational experience of every student.
So, since you talked about the developments of the iPad, as students, why must we consider the use of ebooks instead of textbooks?
You know, ebooks or iBooks for Apple terms it's already being implemented in the States. I just want to share with you some statistics. Actually, the iPad is responsible for 81% of the total web traffic in 2012. 95% of Fortune 500 companies are already using the iPad, and 65% of US schools have already started implementing the iPad program. So students in the US are already using the iPad in schools. So why not switch to the iPad? With these convincing statistics, I really think that, it's really time to make that change.
Okay, so before we move on to the next speaker, do you have any last words?
We in Apple, we really believe, in simplicity. We made the iPad into something, for users to be able to work, to be able to study, to be able to play at a more comfortable level. And basically, I just want to share our 4 main reasons as to why the iPad should be used, or the e-books should be used as substitutes for books. So first, the iPad, as you all know it, or the e-books, offer cheaper cost of books as compared to your normal average traditional textbook. Second, everything's available online. I'm pretty sure that you guys have tried using the 3G or the LTE technology, and basically you can have access to the internet wherever you are. And gone are the days where you go into a bookstore and you fail to find the book that you need to find. So now you're just one click away. All you need to do is type whatever book you need in the iTunes store, and boom. You just need to purchase it and it's yours. Number 3 is flexibility. As I mentioned, simplicity is the name of the game. And having, you don't need to carry a backpack these days. All you need is an iPad to, store 10 or so more books in one device. It's basically an all-in-one device, which I'm pretty sure you students will find very useful when you carry it around campus, share it to your friends. And most importantly, I think the biggest development we have is 3D and interactive graphics through the iBooks. I think study shouldn't be as boring as it should be. With the iBooks, every student, whatever age you are, you will be able to enjoy, studying. And that's the essence of it. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're gonna love what you're doing. So, that's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, moving on, let's talk to the sister of Brother Armin to tell us the benefits on the educational system. Good morning, sister of Brother Armin.
Yes.
How are you?
Good morning, Leah. I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine also. How is your brother?
Oh, my brother is fine. He sends his apologies for not being able to make it. Madami daw talagang pinapagawa si Pinoy sa kanya. Anyway, I'm here to represent his side on the matter.
Thank you for being here with us. So, what's DepEd's side on the use of tablets over textbooks?
Okay, well, nowadays that kids are obviously very comfortable with gadgets. So my brother's asking why not tap into this, and why aren't we reaching the kids in the best way possible? So don't you think also that, as what Mr. Steve Jobs mentioned, don't you think that the Philippine university should already benchmark on other world-ranked universities, especially now in this age of technology, which has made us all global? Everywhere we turn, digital advances are everywhere. But an exception of this is in the area of education. Education has been a holdout from all this from the digital revolution. So my brother really thinks that it is time to use all the technology we can in order to hone the capabilities of the millions of young Filipinos whose minds are, as what Jose Rizal said, are the keys to the future.
But this whole tablet thing is new to us. Do you really think that children will be learning from these devices as compared to textbooks?
Indeed, there have been studies that say that a child is to exhibit better performance and become smarter when he engages himself in a tablet because of the highly visual and multimedia content that these tablets offer. So just imagine yourself going on a virtual tour of the setting of a novel that you guys are actually reading in literature class. Or when you want to interact with an atom or a molecule and you just have to take apart or add something, or just turn it around so that you can have a better conceptual understanding of the actual thing that you're studying. So wouldn't that be great? More than that, also teachers will have better learning processes because teachers will have more choices on how to deal with students. Like example, there are a lot of ways to teach a child, say fractions, and with these. Why should we be limited to the capabilities of the textbook when in fact we already have a wide variety of choices that teachers can actually use when we implement the use of the textbooks? Yeah. Oh, and more apparently, there will be no more excuses for the students because as we all know that dogs cannot eat your tablet, so no excuses for the students on forgetting their homeworks at home or having the dog eating it.
Okay, so this transition, this implementation is a change for everyone. Do you think the Philippines as a third world country is ready for this big change?
That's a very good question, but I'm really optimistic about this because, if all the people, all the players in the digital learning ecosystem work together, work hard to put this into play, I think that we will be ready. Actually, this has already been happening. In fact, Microsoft and Huawei, to name a few, have already donated a lot for this advancement. And we hope, Sir Steve Jobs, that you would also donate to the country in order to push this. Thank you very much. And actually, a lot of publishers have already pitched into the government and partnered with them to create a very serious new kind of learning environment.
Okay, so going back again to the fact that the Philippines is a third world country, implementing the use of tablets will entail big costs and budget, of course. So, do we really need this? Does the Philippines really need to allot this big of a budget, this big of a cost for education?
Okay, so I think this should not be deemed a problem. Right now, Pinoy is actually concentrating on the educational system, and more than that, both the public and the private sector are really trying their best to pull their resources in order to instigate this change. The public schools, you may think that they are not ready for it, but more than helping the private schools, these investors actually go to the public schools more because, of course, the private sector has more money and resources to pour. So, basically, I don't think that we really have the budget to look after because it's after all our job to do that. And our president is really supportive of this change, and we have partnered with a lot of publishing houses like Vival Publishing House and all the other digital investors for the country. So I don't think that the budget is to look after. Also, in fact, it is going to cut or trim the costs in the long term because of the many books that this iPad or this tablets can hold.
Okay, thank you, sister.
Basically, sorry, just to wrap it up, my brother just wants to say that he thinks it's already time to shift into the technological world in terms of education, and he envisions a society where we get more out of spending less from textbooks. Like that. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Your brother is very insightful. Now, let's move on to Kat Chua, who also explains why it's beneficial for students.
Good morning. Good morning, fellow Lasanans.
Can you tell us what year you're in and your course?
I'm currently a second year student at De La Salle University taking up applied corporate management.
So how has the tablet helped you in your class?
Well, in terms of convenience, the tablet has been very helpful since I can carry multiple books in just one device. And in my experience, it has been very hassle for me to photocopy textbooks and buying textbooks that would only take up storage space at home after usage. And when we can download ebooks, which are less costly, then why not? Imagine wearing your fashion clothes to school and having a super heavy and super daming dala mo. Parang, my God, like how will all these textbooks fit in my LC, right? Imagine just carrying an iPad around. Diba, social, bagay sa prestigious school na sa atin.
But won't the iPad pose as a distraction to students?
Well, for me, it does not. I bring my iPad to school every day, and I'm still a consistent first honor dean's list. Just like how the internet has both positive and negative effects to students, the internet can serve as a distraction to students, but as well as a very useful researching tool, and also for faster communication with your group mates or with being updated to your teachers' announcements and homeworks. And also, technology offers an aid for us to improve the quality education, but it only hinders us if we let it. So we'll be deprived the students who really want to learn and basically students who carry the economy and can be aided with an iPad. Only so that the students who are easily distracted. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about affordability. Isn't an iPad expensive? How about other students?
In the Philippines, an iPad would cost around 15,000. So a normal tablet would cost less, which I think can be very affordable for most LaSalle students. In Mint College or Meridian International College, all students are required to have an iPad. It is part of their tuition fee, and so they get a discount for it. If you think about it, tablets are more of an investment, and because it is not seen just as a gaming device anymore, it is also seen as possibly a device that could revolutionize classroom education.
So despite its cost, do you think the tablet should really be implemented?
Yes, tablets are a viable alternative to textbooks.
Okay. So just like any other issue, there's a negative side. Let's move on to Dr. Kate Garland to tell us the cons on having tablets as textbooks.
Hi, Leah. Good morning.
So how was your flight from London?
I'm a little bit jet lagged, but it's okay. I'm glad to be here.
So, being one of the primary researchers on this topic, can you enlighten us?
Okay. I will enlighten you first on the study that we did. Back in England, we did a study on the effect of printed text versus digital text on the memory of the student. So how we did it is we gathered several poor psychology students and we bombarded them with economic terms, economic information. So we set a fair ground for all of them. And what we found out from this study is very, very significant. First, there is a required more repetition for students who studied it using the digital text versus those who studied it in printed text. Second, book readers have come to know the information versus the digital text who only remember it. So what's the difference from knowing and remembering? Knowing is when the information comes naturally to you, and remembering is when you have to go through a certain cue, and then you get to the context of the information, and then only then will you remember the information. So don't get me wrong though, because for computer readers, they can also know the information, but it requires them more repetition, thus a longer time. Also, if you notice from all your college books, they are not plainly just texts compared to fictional books or non-fictional books, but more of they have graphs, tables, etc. This is not actually just information that they want to place there. Instead, it is what they call spatial context. Spatial context is wherein it helps the memory of the brain to remember certain information because it is next to a graphic, next to a page number, etc. So for ebooks, sorry, Mr. T. Jobs. For ebooks, you only have page numbers or it doesn't really give spatial context. Thus, it gives a sense of infinity to the context that you're reading. Whereas for printed text, for college books, they provide spatial context so we can easily remember. Also, to add to my point and reiterating the fact that printed text helps us remember more, Dr. Nielsen, a colleague of mine, once said that the human term memory is actually short-term. The human short-term memory is very volatile and weak. Thus, we need as much help as we can get in remembering the information that comes to our mind. So
you're saying, bottom line, that using tablets won't be as effective?
It won't be effective in the long run, but then it will take more repetition for the students to actually retain the information, whereas printed text helps in retaining the information.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
So let's move on to Mr. Irvin Garcia, who also joins us and tells us why this will not be beneficial for his child.
Thank you, Leah. So,
Can you tell us more about yourself?
so first of all, my name is Erwin, but you can call me Bong. And then, I'm also Alasalian like you guys. Alumni po ako dito. Okay. Tapos nag-graduate ako ng mga 1970s. Kasabay ko si Edo Manzano. Diba? Kilala niyo naman siya siguro, no? Yeah. Tapos actually, yung mukha ko makikita niyo si SJ. Sa second floor ata. Ayun. Gapo-gapo ako na. Anyway. Tapos actually, I really miss being here. Hindi po, wala pa kami speech lab ng panahon namin. Wow. Dati, nung panahon namin, nasa classroom lang kami, o minsan, amphitheater lang talaga. It's really, you guys are really lucky. And you should know that. And then, actually, ang ayaw ko lang sa panahon nyo ngayon is yung sa UAAP. Ano nangyayari? Nung panahon namin, lagi kaming champion. Tapos ngayon, anong place? Fourth place? Guys, ayos naman tayo. Naiinis na kami nila Edo, nila Toy at tayo. Anyway, naalala ko. Lagi na lang talo sa basta. Anyway, okay, next question.
Thank you for reminiscing the past.
It's really emotional, no? Lalo na pag na yung Lasal. Huli panalo lang natin nung last month lang after 8 games. Anyway, okay.
Okay, so let's go back to the topic. What is your stance regarding this issue?
Okay, so first of all, ang pinaka-concern ko kasi yung health hazard na nagagawa ng iPad. Kasi ayon sa American Optometric Association, pwede magkaroon ng bata ng computer vision syndrome which causes eye strain, headache, blurred vision, and dry eyes. So actually nahalata ako kasi yung anak ko, si Cherry, ano siya ngayon? Nag-aaral siya ngayon sa... Saan nga ba nag-aaral yun? Alam ko pala. Sa Ateneo. Nag-aaral siya ngayon sa Ateneo. Tapos, nagtataka ako, Cherry, ba't lumalabo yung matay mo? Grabe. Itigil mo na yung iPad mo. Tapos sabi, tay, ano ba? Cherry, yung iPad mo, itigil mo na yun. Kasi yun, nag-aaway lang kami. It's just, nakairita lang talaga. Ang concern ko lang yung health niya, pero hindi siya nakikinig sa akin. Isa pang point, ito pag-manufacture ng iPad, it actually causes adverse health impacts para sa manufacturer. Actually, 70 times greater, guys, times 70. So, so bakit? So, one tablet requires the extraction, take note Steve Jobs, one tablet requires the extraction of 33 pounds of minerals, 79 gallons of water, and 100 kilowatt hours of fossil fuels, resulting in 66 pounds of carbon dioxide. Diba? 66 pounds of carbon dioxide. Grabe. As a print books, it produces only 100 times fewer greenhouse gases. So sobrang laking benefits. Sobrang laking benefits sa environment kapag print books lang rather than the tablet. Tapos isa pa, yung mga tablet kasi, sobrang dali nga manakaw eh. Example, may kilala actually yung anak ko, si Apple naman. May kilala siya. Yung kilala niya is pinsan ng kaklase niya. And then, ano niya, sa St. Luke's to, totoo nangyari. Sa St. Luke's, may tumatawid yung pinsan ng kaklase niya. Tapos, actually, ewan ko, for some reason, dala niya yung iPad niya sa labas. Tapos habang tumatawid siya nun, I think it's around near St. Luke's, yung daanan doon. May dumaan bigla na motor. Tapos yun, nakuha yung iPad niya. So, ano yung point ko dito? So, yung iPad, or yung tablet, sobrang suspectable siya to theft. Tapos kung nawala man to, one time, big time, boom, wala na libro mo sa isang iglap lang. Tapos may study rin na in San Francisco, New York, and Los Angeles, yung mga pagnanakaw dito, it accounted for 50, 40, and 25%. So yung mga ganong kalaki, yung percentage ng tablet theft compared sa overall theft. And then, ang aking huling point is yung tablet kasi, dahil nga yung education system, they implemented yung paggagamit ng mga technology tablet, mas napapalapit sila sa tablet. Example, kakwento ko kumain kami sa Shadys, sa Marcos Highway, sa Shadys doon. Kumain kami doon. Order kami mojos, pizza, chicken, whatever. And then, di ba anong point kaya tayo nagbabonding? Kaya tayo kumakain, nag-eat out with our family, to bond with our family. Itong mga anak ko, pampihira. Nakatuto ka lang sa tablet. Grabe. Sorry. It's just nakalungat lang talaga. Tapos di lang yun. Di ba dati, parang lagi may picture with family. Ngayon, dapat yun na. Lagi na pinipicture ng sarili niya. May tawag doon ata, selfer ba yun? Selfie. Yun, may selfie. Tapos, yung selfie na selfie. Tapos ang labo, ibis na ako pinipicture yung pagkain. Ba't mong gagawin yun, di ba? Picture mo yung pagkain. Di ba? Anyway, siguro yun lang. It just pulls families apart. Tapos, mas lagi siya nakatutok sa tablet niya. Imbis na ako. Sorry, I'm just thinking. It really puts family apart. Yeah, yun lang.
Thank you for that, sir. Now let's go to Dana Ramos, a student from UST, who has her side on why it's not beneficial to students. Hi, Dana.
Hello.
Can you tell everyone your year, your course?
Okay, sige, magpapakilala muna ako. So, I'm Daniela Ramos and I'm taking up medical technology in UST. Actually nga, scholar lang talaga ako. I really came from one of the most prestigious and most beautiful cities in the Philippines, my beloved Tuguegarao City. Actually, I repeat that, it's a city, not a province. Thank you.
Okay, so how are you with your academics?
Consistently, nasa Dean's List pa rin ako, and yun, sobrang okay naman, and kukuha ko naman yung benefits ko na nagiging okay ako sa classroom, okay ako with all of my academics, so okay ako.
So how do you find books that aid your learning in college?
Para sa akin talaga, books pa rin talaga ako eh. As in, doon ko nakikita na ito talaga yung inaaral ko, mas mabilis akong maka-understand. And for me, kunwari, pauwi pa lang ako, pwede akong magbasa, or kunwari, break ko. Hindi ko kailangan ng internet kasi may mga classmates ako, parang kailangan, uy, may wifi ba dito? Saan mabilis yung wifi? Ganyan. Kasi yung research paper daw nila, saan ba yun? Parang Dropbox ata. Parang doon nila nilalagay. So, ako, wala. Nasa akin na, nakasulat na. So, no need ako para sa mga external factors like Wi-Fi or tablet or anything. So, for me, okay yun.
So since you're a student, what do you think, how would your parents see the change of tablets?
Medyo malaking problem yun actually, and medyo matagal ko siguro i-explain sa kanila. Kasi nung dumating ako dito, medyo tuwang-tuwa ako eh, kasi ang dami palang jeep dito. Parang sa Tupika medyo onte lang, ganun. Pero nung nalaman nila na may iPad 4 na, doon lang nila nalaman na may iPad na pala. So, sorry, Steve Jobs ulit. Actually, ayoko din dito kasi parang yung parents ko na natatakot na sila sa akin na mag-isa lang ako dito, ganyan. Tapos sa mga jeep ako sumasakay. Parang feeling nila mabilis ma-hold up, ganun. Kasi sa labas, sa dapitan pa lang, ang dami-dami na yung nangyayari doon eh. So, parang kung lumabas ako doon sa school namin, tapos may dala akong iPad, parang nakakatakot. Trinitinitin ko nga, hindi ko na nilalabas dahil nasa jeep ako, so iPad pa kaya. So, huwag na lang.
Thank you, Dana. So this topic is quite a hard topic to choose sides on. So let's open the floor for questions. For one question.
Okay, for the one side, since you're against this whole transfer to e-books thing, what do you plan to do? Like, are you gonna rally or something against it? Or what do you plan to do? Like, Mr. Garcia, you say your son is like not taking you pansin anymore. So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna take his iPad away? What are you gonna do?
I'm not a citizen here, but I think your sorry, I think your government cannot yet afford to actually implement the iPad in the educational system. So I don't think there's any for rallies.
And then we'll just, kung ano man gagawin namin ngayon, we'll just maintain yung nangyayari ngayon, yung pangkasalukuyan, yung wala pang iPad, okay naman, di ba? Parang, there's not much problem occurring na hindi ko magamit ng tablet.
At saka para din sa akin, parang medyo hindi pa naman to yung sobrang kailangan, parang big problem na for country. So parang ang daming ibang problems na mas irarally ng people. And I don't think naman na a lot of people would really take active participation for the rally itself. So feeling ko hindi na kailangan.
Thank you, Josh. Sorry, we can accommodate more questions because we're out of time. So to conclude this summit, close this summit, I now pose the question to you. Would you prefer digital, where everything is new to everyone, resources at the tips of your hand, or traditional, where you can scroll through books, read and digest the contents? What do you think? Again, it all boils down to how effective it is to those who are learning. Those who are learning are the future leaders of this country. And more than that, it's about the educators. If they can properly relate to the students what is supposed to be done.